Good morning, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so happy to have you guys here. We're not going to start quite this second. We're still waiting for quite a few people to log on. I think we are a little bit, are we a little bit early?
Oh, we are a little bit early.
We're a little bit early. Let me set my watch. Okay, watch is set. So let's see. So good morning. And the chat box, you can pull up your chat box and you can say hello. So we know that you're here and you can hear me. We are all hardwired in and our audio is working on our end. So if you don't mind, go to your chat box. There you go. Okay, we got Amy. Amy says hello. Terry Rapone, hello. Vanessa, hello. Super stoked. Good, good, good. Teryn, Jennifer, Cheryl Lohman, thank you. I know you. Angela, hi, everybody. And forgive me in advance if I pronounce your name wrong. I do that quite often. All right, Zoe Cotter, excellent, excellent, excellent. Yes. So it's so good to have you all here. I'm so excited. I'm beyond excited. I barely slept last night. All right, so I'm gonna go take Tanya. All right, me too. Can't wait. Thank you, Cheryl, Doro, so many people. All right, so we're gonna wait. I'm gonna jump back on here in about 5 more minutes, and we won't postpone it too long. But I do want to give. Sometimes people have a hard time logging on and whatnot, so I just want to give them a little bit more time, and we are a little bit early. Okay, so just make sure you got some water, and we're gonna go about an hour, and we will do some Q&A. So we will answer all your questions, and yeah, and have a fun hour. So I'm gonna unmute myself, and I'll be back here in about 5-6 minutes, and then we will get started. Thank you. Y'all can hear me now? All right, just a little click of the button. Okay, good, good, good. So welcome everybody. So what I was saying earlier is I noticed Carrie Wallstead is on here. And if you don't know who Carrie is, she is one half of the Scalp Sisters from the UK. The other half is Jess, and they are phenomenal SMP artists. One of the best classes we ever hosted. So if you are wanting to learn SMP, Jess and Carrie, the Scalp Sisters in the UK, they are just absolutely phenomenal, amazing artists and amazing humans. So happy to see you here, Carrie. And I know you've been using the OMG Eyeliner Pigments as well. You are welcome, my girl. I love you. Yes. All right. So everybody should be hearing me now. If you can't, check your mic. Because good, everybody can hear me now. Perfect. All right. All right, Cheryl. Okay, so welcome. I saw Louisiana and Wisconsin and Arkansas and Canada. All kinds of people. We got people from all over the place here. Oh, Kentucky. I was born in Kentucky. Fort Knox, Kentucky. I think I only lived like my first 6 months there, though. My dad was in the army. Maui. Nice. I'm a little jelly. Maui. Bismarck Beach, Ohio. Another Shelley, another UK. Okay, we got New York in the house. We got Tennessee, California, the Netherlands, Ohio, Austin, Texas. Went there, celebrated a birthday in Austin once, and I went to a real honky tonk. Florida, Virginia, Miami, another Florida. Yeah, real honky tonk. You should have saw the guy, what he looked like. He came over here and asked me to 2-step. And he was probably 90 years old. And I don't know if he had, a full grill. But he was in his cowboy boots, his hat, and he was a real cowboy. And I said yes, and we 2-stepped. And I had so much fun. Oh, we got Giselle from New Zealand, Kansas. All right, we got lots of people, so exciting. So let's get this started. And I want to thank you all for hanging out with me today, taking time off, and hanging out with me for like an hour while we go over this. So much love to you all. All right. So let's go. All right, so you might have seen, you know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, leaking out on Instagram, some pictures, but finally, after all these years, collabing with other great artists like Monica Vani and, you know, developing the Loaded line for LI, working closely on the aqua colors and the EU version, just years of working on pigments and development and formula, and getting a really good understanding of them, how they're developed, and what goes into a good pigment when you're formulating and developing them. And it was just time, you guys. It was time, you know, over the years, lots of people have asked me, when you're going to do your own, when you're going to do your own. But when I'm working with someone, collabing with them, helping them get their artist series up and running, or when I was working on Loaded, that takes all of your time, your focus, and your energy. So I am like 1000% committed to those projects. And I just didn't really have time. I didn't have the time to dedicate all that it took to do my own line. So finally, I carved out time for myself to do just that. And I've been testing these three, and I know they're only 3 colors, but, you know, eyeliner is my jam. And there were specific things they had to deliver on. And we tested them on tons of people for a little over a year, about a year and 3 or 4 months or so. We were testing them. We had them out to several of the artists that did eyeliner, and some artists that were even beginning eyeliners, and intermediate and advanced eyeliner artists. I wanted all skill levels helping me test these pigments and getting feedback. So that's what we've been doing, and they are finally here. And I think they are the 3 best blacks, really. They're fantastic. So we're going to go over each one of the colors and what makes them different, right? Because I knew people were going to ask that, and you should ask that. They are not white labeled. These are not just LI's black eyeliners, and I slapped my label on them, which is really cute. OMG, right? It's such a cute label, cute name. I knew we would have some fun with that, but they are not white labeled. First of all, Darlene's Story, LI Pigment, does not white label stuff. She don't do that. She don't do that with her aqua line and her own colors. You need to come up with your own formulas, your own custom colors. Leave aqua alone. So we did. That's what we did. So I'm going to explain each one. And so can I just ask you guys, let me tell you, I have a really exciting announcement. So a lot of you know who Olivia and Willow are, you know, and Sarah, that's, you know, my team. And if you follow the podcast, you really know who Willow and Olivia is. Well, Olivia, Sunday morning? Sunday morning, 5 a.m., her baby boy arrived. 8 pounds, 6 ounces?
Not sure.
I think 8 pounds, 6 ounces, if I'm correct. Over 8 pounds. So big baby boy. And I know, goosebumps. And she's a first-time mommy. And so we are all so happy. So we're all a bunch of aunties here at Girls Inc. And so the labels were Olivia's little pet project. She developed these labels with me. And we fought hard to get the OMG trademark. And so, do you like the name and the labels? I love them. I see them. I'm like, man, these are some of the most gorgeous bottles I've ever seen. Thank you. Thank you. And I know it means a lot to Olivia to hear the compliments come in on the labels, because she really worked hard on them. So thank you, Zoe. I think they're really fun. we're hearing, people are posting them now, and we're hearing, Usher, oh my God, that Usher song, that song, yeah. And what else? What are we hearing? Oh my God, Becky, did you see her butt? We're seeing a lot of that stuff. So it's been fun, simple and elegant. Thank you, Sky. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, so let's talk about the colors. Let's talk about the colors. Okay, so the entire collection, we got 3 colors, right? We got black brownie, which is a black brown, and we got super black, which is a super black, and then we got black fusion, which is a deep fierce black, and that's the hybrid. So the formula for each is the same. The tones are different. And so what we did with the formula is we used micronized colorants. We use raw colorants, right? And what raw colorants, just so you know, is, so LI is a manufacturer, and they have to order their raw colorants from raw pigment manufacturers, right? So LI doesn't make the raw powdered pigments. They have to purchase them. So manufacturers have a choice. They can order raw powders and then bring that in home to their lab, and then they can mix them and create custom tones. They can make them as concentrated or as weak as they want, and then they can add any ingredient they want. Think of it as a homemade cake. You're making a homemade cake. You decide the batter, the ingredients, how sweet, how not sweet. You decide everything. You start with the flour, and then you decide how much flour, and then you add all the ingredients and you get your homemade cake. That's how LI makes their pigments. It's certainly how we made the OMG pigments. And then manufacturers, there's pre-made, where it's kind of like a store-bought cake, where you don't have control of the concentration. You don't have control of the liquid ingredients, the carriers, and those sort of things. So all raw colorants, because I wanted these as concentrated as scientifically possible. And that was a task, because the more concentrated you make a pigment, the thicker it gets. So we had to figure out a way to get them really super concentrated. So they worked excellent, great saturation with a single needle or a small needle, or if someone's light-handed, yet maintain a nice thin viscosity so they flowed through all the needles. I didn't want them thick, and I certainly didn't want them watery, so watery they were messy. So we got a really nice viscosity, and we tested them with the Vertex needle, the OMG needle, Quadrant, all the popular needles, and they flow excellent. So micronized colorants, powders, just kind of like how it sounds, they're ground so fine. Each little grain of powder is so fine. They're micronized. And what that means to the artist, the pigment, and then ultimately the artist, is that type of colorant is going to implant quicker because it's so fine. So we went with that micronized high performance raw pigments. So that was really fun working with those. They're certified vegan, not vegan friendly. There's a big difference. So we are certified vegan. And I would say moderately high to extremely high retention. I would say black brownie and super black are moderately high. They are inorganic, but because of the concentration levels, they are moderately high. And then black fusion would be extremely high because it's a hybrid. It does have that black carbon in there. Now, how much retention, how much saturation and retention? Do you know? No pigment company can really give you a percentage or guarantee you 70% retention, 80% retention. I'm certainly not going to do that, because that really depends on you guys. Even with the OMG pigments, right? It depends on what needle are you using. Are you Are you going proper depth, or do you like to work a little shallow? How many passes are you doing? Are you using low saturation movements, or are you using high saturation movements? So, so how much saturation and retention you get is dictated by the artist's techniques and, of course, the skin. But the bottle of pigment is moderately high to extremely high. And then again, how you implant, the needles you choose, and the skin will determine actual retention. I already went over this, but the consistency, it's kind of silky. That's the best way I know how to describe it. It's kind of got this silky consistency, and I think it's the perfect consistency. I've been all over the boards. I watch and I listen what artists want with viscosity. They don't want them too watery. You see complaints if pigments are too watery. You see complaints if the pigments are too thick. So we try to find this really nice balance. If they are a little too thick, which I don't think they will be, you can always add a drop of soft effects and thin them out. But if a pigment's too watery, you can't thicken that up. So if I had to choose, my line is a little too thick for some people, a little too creamy for some people, or a little too watery. I'd rather be a little too creamy for some people, because that is a quick adjustment. A drop or two of soft effects, and a drop or two of soft effects or dilution solution is not going to affect the strength of these pigments. So we went with this viscosity, and I think it's going to please most people. Do you know what I learned in this industry and in life? You can't please everybody, but you want to try to please the masses. And then the ones that aren't quite pleased, at least there's a solution. So that's how I went into this line. We chose a really special blend of carriers. And what the carrier is for pigments, you guys, so you make up, you mix your powders and you get the tone. And then you got to deliver that. You got to deliver that color into the skin. And that's what carriers do. Carriers deliver the pigment into the skin. So we came up with a very special, unique blend of carriers that provided quick delivery into the skin. And we struggled with that because the first couple of samples, I mean, it wasn't implanting quickly. So that's why pigments need to be tested. And that's why they need to be tested on real skin, and they have to be tested for months. So if they implant good, are the carriers you're using good carriers? Are they implanting that pigment quickly and efficiently on most skin types? Doesn't matter. You can have the best carriers in the world, and there's always going to be skin types that are resistant. That's just the nature of the beast. That's what we signed up for. But on most skin types, you're going to find that these pigments implant quickly and efficiently, even the inorganics. So super black and black brownie, again, are inorganic blacks, and not just one inorganic black, but a blend of multiple inorganic blacks. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. And they are made according to EU Recept 2008. So black brownie and super black are 100% inorganic, and they are made according to EU Recept 2008, which means we all know about EU REACH compliant. Black Fusion is EU REACH compliant. And that's why it has the carbon. I wanted at least one of my colors to be EU REACH compliant, and we had to add the carbon in order for it to be compliant. And so it is. Now, as far as black brownie and super black, they're not EU REACH compliant, but they follow all the strict guidelines and restrictions and bans of EU Recept 2008-1, which means there are no banned ingredients, none. So the brand new list of additional banned ingredients that came out January of 2023, which included isopropyl alcohol and quite a few ingredients. Our pigments contain no banned ingredients, none. So whatever the EU deems banned, they are not in our pigments. They're not in any ally pigment. So, so very proud of that. And again, Black Fusion is a blend of inorganic and black carbons, and it is EU REACH compliant. So let's talk about each color. Oh, David prefers thicker. Okay, so they're not too thin though, David. They're not too thin. We wanted to make sure that they stuck to blades pretty well and they weren't like too drippy. So I don't think they are. But the needles seem to be getting thinner, the needle tips. And those long, thin needle tips, man, you know, thick pigment just does not flow through them at all. But anyway, let's talk about black brownie. So you can see a little swab, and you can see where it's a little wet and then where it dried. It is an inorganic. It has a black brown base, and we do have added warmth in there. Moderately high retention, nice silky consistency, and the CI numbers are right there. So it is a blackish brown. It's going to heal either a really dark, deep brown, maybe to a soft blackish brown, depending on the skin type, depending on how much you saturate. So there's a little wiggle room there. I think it is a beautiful, beautiful, deep dark to blackish brown with a little bit of warmth in the base. It's perfect for clients that don't want a dark black. Now, with the inorganic blacks that we used in this formula, we did not use just one inorganic black. We used multiple high performance inorganic blacks. And I thought that was really a smart move. Why use just one high performance inorganic black if we could use more than one? I felt that might give these pigments an edge, and they did. So I'm really glad we made that decision. Made me a little bit nervous at first, but it was a really good decision. So it's just a beautiful, deep, dark, smoky, brown, warm, soft, black kind of color. And you know what I learned over the years? I've seen on Facebook lately, I see artists using some medium browns and going really light with their browns on eyeliners. And I learned the hard way that the brown has to have some black in the base in order for it to last any reasonable amount of time. I tried to go medium browns and really get like a certain tone of brown to heal on my eyeliner clients. I spent about 5 years playing with lots of different browns, and I didn't have that much success. And I did come to the conclusion that although we want a brown, it does have to have enough black in there to give it oomph. You just got to have that, or it's going to fade really quick. And eyeliner clients do not want their eyeliners fading that quick. They just don't. So I think I did 6 samples trying to find the right balance of brown versus enough black in the base. And I landed on this, and I think it's fantastic. And if you dilute it, it's going to heal more brown, right? So the more you dilute it, the more brown you're going to see. So that's a little tip for you. Looks like an espresso. Yeah, it's darker than espresso, the brow color, but it is kind of like a deep espresso brown with just enough black in the base, like I said, to give it the stability to stabilize that brown on eyelid skin. You know, and when I talk to the chemists at LI, they explain the different parts of the body, the skin. Like the skin on eyelids is so different than the skin on the brow area. And that's why like you have to change the formula on the different areas of the skin. Like on eyelid skin, it's super thin. The vascular system really affects pigments, right? Really influences the pigments in a very different way than eyebrow skin. So that's what goes into making a formula for the different areas of the body, because the thin and thickness of the skin is different. The vascular system is different. Oil gland, everything's different. And so you have to take that into account when you're formulating pigments for the different areas. So that's my black brownie, and I love it. So super black. I wanted to, so I wanted to come out with an inorganic black that wiped out the myth that inorganic blacks were way too hard to implant, that did not heal as black as carbon, and all the things you see said about inorganic black eyeliners. I wanted to fix all that with a great inorganic black that did implant quick and easy, that could heal just as black as carbon. And I spent a long time on this super black, a long time. I thought Blanca Li was going to kill me. But in order to achieve that, we had to come up with a unique carrier blend to help with the delivery. We did use the micronized colorants, and I didn't use just one inorganic black, you guys. We used multiple high performance inorganic blacks. And then the ladies at LI do their things. You know, they mill them, they blend them, they do this, they do things that my mind can't comprehend because I'm not a chemist. They just do their thing. And we came up with this together, and it is a deep, dark, super black. That's why I named it super black. We did put a little warmth in that base, moderately high retention. It, nice thin, but silky viscosity. I love the silking of this. Like if you drop it on a plate and tip it upside down, it doesn't run. It kind of stays in place, and then it starts this slow drip. So that's how I explained my viscosity to my chemists at LI, how I wanted it. I think this is the intense, high performance, inorganic black so many people have been waiting for, dying for, and maybe thought could not be created, but I do believe it was created. So I'm really excited. I know Carrie, I don't know, Carrie, if Carrie, you used super black or you've just been using the black fusion, but we've got a ton of great feedback on it. Okay, so then we have black fusion, and this is EU REACH compliant, and this is my hybrid. I did not want to come out with a 100% carbon black if I didn't have to. I was open to it, but what I went into black fusion wanted to see, could we create a hybrid that implanted just as quick as carbon? Because we all know carbon does implant a little bit quicker because of its particle size. So could I create a hybrid that contained enough carbon that carried the inorganic right along with it, and it implanted very quick, like carbon uses like, yet have enough inorganic blacks in there to stabilize the carbon, so it wasn't as, so we reduced the risk of migration, and we did that. I think, now finding the percentage, how much carbon percentage and the percentage of inorganic, how much? I think I did about 9 samples playing with all the different percentages. Now, the percentage, I'm not going to reveal because that was about a year and lots of clients and lots of testing to find the right percentage. And I did. I had 2 other artists really testing this particular color with me, and we've got a great percentage where it flies into the skin, and yet it's not is not at such a high risk of migration. So I think this is a really super unique color. It's got a black base, and on this color, the same multiple inorganic blacks. And we did multiple carbon blacks. So there's a lot of different blacks in this bottle. And that's kind of how I work. When I work, I layer blacks on a client. I don't typically use just one black. I layer different blacks on clients, and that always worked for me. So I wanted to see, would that work inside the bottle? Combining different inorganic blacks, combining different carbon blacks rather than just using one. And that's how we went into Black Fusion. That's how I went into this line, like just kind of seeing what we could do. What could we do different? What would work? What would not work? And this is what we came up with. And so I think it's gonna kick ass. So I'm super excited. Oh, you use both, Carrie. Super black today. Oh, with black brownie. Oh, excellent, excellent, excellent. So here they are. So there's black brownie. There's the super black, and there is Black Fusion, my hybrid. And layering is fantastic. I love to layer. I'll start with black brownie, second layer on super black, and then I love to do an overlay blast of Black Fusion, get a little carbon in there on that last pass. It's just great to layer. They all layer so good. And each one of these, no matter which one you use, you're not just working with one really good inorganic black, you're getting lots of inorganic blacks into the skin. And the way my mind works, I'm like, okay, well, we all know client skin can be finicky. What if like one inorganic black, even though it's really good, what if that particular skin type didn't like it? So if we filled the bottle with multiple inorganic blacks, do we have a better chance if that skin didn't like one inorganic black in the bottle, it would be receptive to the others, or at least two. That was kind of my mindset going into formulating these colors. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about black carbon and iron oxide black. So carbon black is an organic type of pigment. Technically, it can be considered inorganic as well. It can, but that's just too deep, layered, and complex to explain. But most of us know it as an organic pigment type. It has a super small particle size, right? And so due to carbon having such a small particle size, it can travel. It can travel and it can migrate. Inorganic black, also known as iron oxide or mineral type pigments, and you guys know that those three terms all mean the same darn thing, right? For years and years and years, I see Robin Hayes is on here. Robin, we always called them iron oxides for years and years and years and years and years. LI chemists tend to use the term inorganic. So once I started working with LI about 13 years ago, I did get used to the word inorganic and learned that inorganic and iron oxide were interchangeable, meant the same thing. But now we're seeing them being referred to as mineral type pigments. So that's just another word that means the same thing. So inorganic, iron oxide, mineral, they all mean the same type of pigment. So inorganic black does have a bigger particle size, which does make it more stable with an extremely low risk of migration. I don't know if I've ever seen an eyeliner migrate when inorganic blacks have been used, but we certainly have seen lots of migrations with full carbon blacks. Due to the migration factor of carbon, inorganic black is it's highly recommended if you're new to the eyeliner procedure. I think if you're new to eyeliner, you should stick with an inorganic until you get your depth sorted out and you're skilled and you have, 50 to 100 eyeliners under your belt. And then if you want to move over to something that has carbon in it, absolutely. But to start out on carbon brand new, I don't let my apprentices do that or my students do that. you know, I'm here to protect my students and my apprentices and the clients and models. So I think an inorganic black is good to start out while you're learning. So I think you guys will find this interesting is we're all into CI numbers now, right? Artists are asking for CI numbers. We're putting them on the backs of the labels now, right? EU Reach requires that now. Now, you guys, here in the United States, the FDA has just made a big, bold move, and they are now involved in permanent makeup and tattoo pigments, where they really were not, ever. But now the FDA has taken a good, hard look at the PMU and permanent makeup industry here in the United States, and they have a set of laws coming out called MOCRA and MOCRA, and those going into effect December 31st this year. And that is just the very first step where the FDA is getting involved and going to regulate pigments, both body tattooing and permanent makeup in the United States. So regulation is coming. Right now, they're just regulating the labels. And if there's adverse reactions and things like that, you can read all about MOCRA. But so we're getting into CI numbers now, right? The industry is getting smarter. We're asking more questions. We want to know what's in our pigments, which is smart. We should know. So when it comes to inorganic blacks, there's hundreds of inorganic blacks to choose from. Yet there's only one CI number for the hundreds of inorganic blacks. Only one CI number. So when manufacturers, when you're ordering your, this is how they come in powder form. If you're using raw pigment powders. So inorganic blacks, when you're ordering your powders, some of them have a blue base. Some of them have a gray or ashy gray base. And some of them have a real truer black base. So the blue base, the ashy gray base, we don't work with those. We worked with the truer black base, which are more expensive. But that's what we want. That's what we want in our black eyeliner pigments. I don't want a blue-based inorganic black powder in any of my eyeliner colors, right? That just increases the chance of it freaking turning blue in a couple of years. So, but one CI number, 77266, describes and represents the hundreds of inorganic blacks, whether it has a blue base, whether it has a gray base, whether it has the true black base, whether it's low quality or high quality. And does that make a lick of sense? It doesn't make a lick of sense to me, but that's the truth of the matter. So when you look up on different brands using inorganic blacks, you're going to see 77266. But you really don't know which inorganic black they're using. Is it really low quality? Is it of medium quality? Is it high quality? Is it got a black base? Is it got a blue base? You don't know, because one number represents all those inorganic blacks. That's kind of crazy. Am I the only one that thinks that's kind of crazy? Send me I don't know, send me something if you think that's crazy. Yeah, I'm looking on my chart. It is, Carrie, it's wild. I think that gives, yeah, I think that gives manufacturers like a little bit of blankecy, right? Like a little thing to hide behind. I don't know. I just think I think every inorganic black should have its own CI number, but that's just not how it is. That's just not how it is. Okay. All right. Same thing goes for carbon blacks. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of carbon blacks that can be used for pigment manufacturing. One CI number, 77499. And just like the inorganic blacks, some of them have that ugly blue base, some of them have an ashy gray base, and some of them have a truer black base. So, you know, this is where you have to really know your manufacturer and really trust your manufacturer that, that out of all these, different inorganic carbon blacks that they're using, really super high quality, and they're using the appropriate black with the appropriate base, right? So we know pigments that contain carbon, whether they're high, some of the hybrid pigments contain carbon to get to the, to create the tones, and the all organic lines certainly contain carbon. So when you're talking eyebrow pigments that contain carbon, I mean, oh hell no, we don't want the carbon black or inorganic black in our brow pigments to be blue based. We don't want it to be gray based. That truer black based carbon, that high quality truer black based carbon, is the carbon that you want to be working with. That's what's going to give you the best results, and that's what's going to provide more stable aging over time. So really interesting. And again, they range from, really low quality to really high quality. And they're not ranked as far as quality. They're just not ranked at all. So I don't know if that will change in the years to come. LI seems to think not. It's been like this for a long time, and it will probably remain like this for a long time to come. So I think there are some myths when it comes to carbon black and iron oxide. I know some people, oh, thank you, Devin, you're welcome. I think there's some people on here that have been doing eyeliners a long time. I know Robin Hayes, I've been knowing her, I don't know, 17, 18 years. She's been doing PMU long. I'm celebrating 23 years this September, and her and I just had a couple text exchanges, and she's celebrating 30 years. And so I've done anywhere between 5,000 and like 7,000 eyeliners over my career. And I've used inorganic blacks, organic blacks, and hybrids. I've used it all. And eyeliner's kind of like my jam. And I get people from all over the world, even outside the country, that come see me for a high saturation eyeliner. They like that big, bold, look. I do smoky and soft and dusty, but I do a lot of the high saturation. And one of the myths out there is one is not necessarily blacker than the other. It's not. If you have a high quality inorganic black with a truer black base, and you have a high quality carbon black with a truer black base, and you put one on one client on one eye and use the other one on the other eye, same artist, and they're using same techniques, you're probably going to get similar blackness, a similar tone in black. One is not necessarily blacker than the other. Now, if you have a high quality carbon with a true black base, and it's really concentrated, and you have an inorganic that uses a blue base or a gray base, and it's not as concentrated, then yeah, that carbon will probably yield blacker. And just the opposite. If you have a really poorly made carbon black with a gray based powder or blue based powder, and it's not that concentrated, versus a high performance inorganic eyeliner pigment using black based inorganic pigments, and they're all high performance, high quality, then that inorganic black is probably going to heal blacker than the poor quality carbon. So it's so to make the blanket statement carbon heals black with an inorganic, that's not accurate, you guys. That is not accurate at all. Does that make sense to you guys? Because over the years, so many of us have used high quality inorganics, and we're getting black. We're getting black, right? And when you look at these three colors, these three eyeliners, these are all healed one session. No joke, no kidding. About 50-60% of my eyeliners heal like this, one session. you can't tell which one's carbon, which one's hybrid, and which one's inorganic. You just can't really tell. You just can't really tell. And it also depends on the artist. You know, if you have an artist like me that uses high saturation needles, high saturation movements, and I'm using an inorganic versus an artist that uses low saturation needles, low saturation movements, and she's using a carbon, I'm probably going to get blacker, and mine's probably going to last longer just because of the techniques alone, right? So there's a lot of variables rather than organic versus carbon. That's just not accurate. And I really, really want to spread that message, because that's just inaccurate, and it gives really good inorganic eyeliner blacks. You know, just kind of degrades them and devalues them when they should be. We can get excellent results with inorganic blacks. Due to carbon's chemistry, right? It's got a light fastness of like 8. It does tend to last longer. It does tend to last longer. It's got that light fastness of 8, you know, and just the chemistry makeup of carbon. It does tend to last longer, but not always. Not always. I have had inorganic blacks outlast carbon blacks on multiple clients over the years. You know, I look at their notes, I'll be shocked I used a carbon because it only lasted, you know, 1.5 or 2 years. So the skin has a lot to do with that, you guys, too. You know, the skin is a big dictator and determinator on how black and how long it lasts, as well as artist technique. So it's skin plus artist techniques plus the pigment equals the tone it heals, how long it lasts, and the durability of it, right? There's a lot that goes into that versus just the type of pigment that it is. Well, thank you, Shelley. And if you think this is interesting, I just launched my brand new color theory class. It was 5 years old, and I went in and I redid it all. It took me a year, and it's this. It's non-pigment brand specific. I did not want it to be about LI. It is non-pigment brand, and it won't offend anybody. In the science part, I do reference LI here and there because it made sense to in the science section. And it's the only pigment brand I know, but it wasn't to really promote them. It was just to give an analogy and to explain it in a way that could be understood. But yeah, a color theory webinar, I mean, my color theory class, it's called Beyond the Epidermis, and we just lowered the price on it for like the next like 30 days, and it's going to take you months, but it's great. Anyway, so again, client skin type, we already said that. Client skin type, artist technique, are you tattooing shallow? Are you low saturating? Are you using low saturation movements, low saturation needles? All that plays a big role, huge role in our healed in results. Now, due to the particle size of carbon may implant a little bit easier. That is true. That is true, especially if you're using a good carbon with a low quality inorganic black. Because within the inorganic black family, the particle size is bigger than carbon, but the particle size varies within the inorganic black family. You can have really super low inorganic blacks with a particle size a little bigger and bulkier. And then you can have really high quality micronized inorganic blacks where the particle size is smaller. It's not as small as carbon, but it's smaller within the inorganic family. So these are all things that, you know, I've been able to learn and discover, you know, with the support of LI and developing these pigments. So carbon does tend to implant a little bit easier, but again, not always. I have used carbon, started out on carbon, and that particular client, that particular skin, it's just not implanting well at all. And I'm using straight up high quality carbon. So a lot of times we just have clients where their skin is just so darn resistant, you know, and then there's been times where I've started out with an inorganic and it wasn't implanting as well as I wanted. I switched to a carbon and it implanted much better. So, you know, so that's just skin, you know, I don't like to sit there and try to force pigment in and overwork skin. So if something's not implanting like within the, you know, first minute or two, then I switch things out. I may switch needles, I may switch pigment, types of pigment, and try to switch things out to get pigment to implant more efficiently, because that's really what it's all about. We want to get in and out. We want to get our work done as quickly as possible. We want to get to the saturation levels as quickly and efficiently as possible. That's how I work. Heidi, I would not say, I don't think, no, I've seen a couple things from pigment brands where their pigment, because it's made a certain way, reduces healing time. And when I ask other chemists that, they say that's not true. No, so it's not about the pig. No, if it was a really horrible bottle of pigment made with banned ingredients and there was stuff in there that was, you know, just not good, then yes. But when it comes to well-made pigments across the board, because there's lots of brands out there that are making well-made pigments that are EU REACH compliant. They're all gonna, it's not gonna, a well-made pigment may reduce the healing time a little bit, but amongst all the well-made pigments, there's not gonna be one that stands out that really reduces healing time. Does that make sense? Perfect. Yes, Devin, if you were already on my color theory course, we moved everybody over a couple weeks ago. So you're on the new course and you got another whole year. We extended everybody to a brand new year. So everybody got an email, but if you were already on the color theory course and you don't have access to the new course, then you can email us. But we didn't see anybody drop out or anything. We moved all the members over and they moved without a glitch. You just had to log back in. And once you did, you were in the brand new course, which is kind of like Candyland. It's great. And you got another, we started your year all over again. Okay, so let's talk about migrations. So I think most of us know what migrations are. Every now and then I do come across an artist that doesn't really know what a migration is, and I'll send her some pictures. But it's mostly, you know, it's with carbon, and some people call them blowouts. And they're unattractive. No one wants this to happen to them. You know, it's, and if it does, we have to go in with saline and remove it, right? That's what we have to do if this happens to us in our own work. You know, carbon has feet and it will run. Carbon has legs and it will spread. I have been saying that in all my eyeliner courses, you know, for years and years and years, and it's true. It can run and it can spread. And migrations can happen due to too much pressure, you know, because the particle size is so small that it requires a little less pressure than if you're working with an inorganic. So if you use too much pressure and you implant carbon too deep, then you can get a migration. Wrong needle angle. Needle angle is very important in all our procedures, but especially if you're working with carbon or using it in the blow zones or danger lids, which I'm going to describe that in just a minute. So the first rule of safety is to never use carbon until you're fully skilled and experienced. You know, because we have a store, we do pigments, we get a lot of young artists that are using other brands. And they email us for help. And even though they're using other brands, we help them. And we're seeing a lot of migrations because they're new. They're new and they're going straight to carbon. I mean, full carbon-based eyeliner pigments. And they're getting migrations and they're freaked out. So I just really feel strongly that if you are brand new to eyeliner, and you've never worked with carbon, black carbon, don't start out on like full black carbon. Start out on an inorganic, because that is your safety net right there to avoid a migration. I've never had a full migration in my 5,000 plus eyeliners, but I had two close calls. I had two close calls where you could see that it blurred and got a little cloudy, but it didn't go poof. And why it didn't go poof and be a full-blown migration, I don't know. You could see it wanted to, but it didn't. And the first time it happened to me, yeah, you know, it freaked me out, but not enough to make any changes because I'm a body tattooer, so I'm used to carbon. So I wasn't cocky with carbon, but I was confident. And then it happened to me again, maybe 3 months later. And that was like a sign from the universe. Okay, I gotta like put some protocols in place for myself, because third time probably ain't gonna be a charm. Third time I'm gonna get a migration. And so I put some safety protocols in place for my own self to make sure that I never, ever, ever almost get a migration ever again. So one of the first rules is never, ever, ever, ever use carbon on eyelids that look like this. Never. I call them danger lids. And for the first 10 years of my career, PMU career, I was using carbon on eyelids like this, you guys. You know, I know. I mean, in body tattooing, use carbon on everybody, no matter what their skin looks like. So, but it was eyelids that looked like this that I almost got my blowout. And probably the reason I didn't is because I was so skilled with carbon, you know, but by the grace of God, I did not get a migration, a full-blown migration. But so no lids like this. And look at that little top lid right here. You don't know, even if it's red, even if it's just pink, but you don't necessarily see individual capillaries, don't use carbon, right? Hey, Alice Kingdom. If you don't know Alice Kingdom, she's our distributor in the UK. And I think she's going to have some OMG pigments. So you can purchase from her. But anyway, so makes sense, right? Because that particle size in carbon can grab in one of those little capillaries and run. Just runs right up it and spreads. And now you get a big migration. So never, ever, ever, ever always stay with an inorganic on eyelids that look like this. Then you just don't have to worry, you guys. Don't have to worry. Never go too far into the inner and outer canthus. I call them the blow zones. And it's just that, the beginning of the very inside and the very outside. The outer canthus, the outside, the skin is just so damn thin. It's just thin. It's too thin for carbon. And then the inside of the eye, it's a different kind of texture, if you will. It's kind of spongy. I don't know another word to describe it. It just feels different. Your needle bounces off it different. It's just a different kind of texture in there. And so when we're going, outside corner, inside corner, I stopped using straight carbon. Now, the good thing about my hybrid, the Black Fusion, is I tested it on my leg using too much pressure, and I tested on someone else using not a lot of extra pressure, but a little bit too much pressure, and we didn't even get close to a migration. And then just relying on my chemists at LI, the hybrid, what we did with the hybrid is there's benefits of both inorganic, there's upsides and downsides, advantages and disadvantages. And there's advantages and disadvantages of carbon, right? There's advantages and disadvantages of all pigments. And by combining them, we increase the advantages of each. So it implants quicker, which is what we love about carbon, but we decreased the disadvantages. So we decreased the risk of migration. I am not going to sit here and tell you that it won't migrate. We cannot even say that about inorganic. We cannot. If you went deep enough with an inorganic black, you could get fuzziness. We've seen it, you know. So I think that would be very irresponsible of me to say with my hybrid, you will not get a migration. That would just be irresponsible. But it did decrease the risk by fusing that inorganic with the carbon. It stabilized that carbon. It helps stabilize it. So you get all the advantages of carbon with the decreased risk of migration. Does that make sense? I wish I could tell you no chance of migration, but I would be lying. You know, you can't make those broad blanket statements about your pigments, your pigment line. I see too many of those broad blanket statements of promises and guarantees about their pigments. And sometimes it makes me cringe because there's no way. We cannot make those guarantees. There's too many variables. I wish I could. That would be wonderful. But you have to be fucking honest, man. You just have to be honest, and you have to be realistic. Too much depends on the artist as well as the skin, not just the bottle of pigment. Okie dokie. Okie dokies. Never use carbon on older, fragile skin. It's just too thin. It's too fragile. So stay with an inorganic. And especially when you're first learning carbon, don't go too high or too far away from the lash line. You know, lash enhancements or just a little bit outside the lash line. You know, hug that lash line while you're learning. And then once you get skilled, if they want a medium-sized eyeliner, you can start going a little bit thicker with carbon. But now in my career, I would say the last 10 years, I don't go too thick at all with carbon. When I have a client comes in and she wants a thick eyeliner, I'll do the lash line and I'll only go so thick with carbon, and then I switch to an inorganic. And I'll do the rest of the thickness with an inorganic. I just think that's safer. And what if that client one day doesn't want all that thickness, right? I want the chance for that to fade out. And there's more of a chance an inorganic's going to leave the skin and fade out than a carbon. So I don't want to lock any client into a particular thickness or look by using carbon. But who's not going to want a lash enhancement or a nice moderate tailored eyeliner, you know, for the rest of their life? I mean, that just looks good. Most people don't outgrow that. But a lot of people outgrow tails, wings, and thickness. They change as they get older, you know, and I have a story about that. You know, I had a client back years ago when I was a young artist. I did the thickness, tails, wings, everything in carbon. Whatever they asked me, I did it in carbon. And I did it beautifully, and it looked awesome. But I had a client come in maybe 10 years after I did her, you know, pinup. She was pinup-y. And so it suited her back then. And it looked great. And I did a, you know, big old wing, and, you know, and it was great. She had a little pinup car, old car, and she was just, and she was a showgirl here in Vegas. But maybe about 10, 11 years after we did that, she came in for her brow refresh. And she told me that she wished she had never done her wings like that. And if I could like cover them up. And of course you can't cover them up, you know, but we started removal on them. And so that just kind of stuck me. You know, I remember feeling bad. I mean, you know, that's the last thing an artist wants, even though you both agree and it looks beautiful, even if it's years later, the last thing you want to hear is, wish I never done that. You know, I don't like it anymore. You know, yeah, it just feels bad. So that's when I started becoming a little bit more conservative with my carbon use and things like that. So, and I always do my first pass. This is one of my protection protocols I put in place when I got those 2 almost migrations, is I always do my first pass with an inorganic. And I'm kind of testing the skin, because some skin is very reactive. I don't know about some of you, but sometimes you'll get going, you know, on a client, and the minute your needle pokes them, like poof, they puff real bad, or they'll get a tiny little red capillary, you'll see it, or a little tiny little, you know, micro bruise. I wear loops, you know, magnifying loops. I see everything happening on that skin. So when I'm going across that first pass and I'm using my inorganic, if I see anything like that that makes my pit swells, that warns me, I do not switch to carbon. I just don't. I stay with an inorganic. My first pass, my second pass. If after that second pass, the skin stayed calm and it didn't get worse, or then I'll do my third pass with Black Fusion, so I can get some of that yummy carbon in there on that last pass. But if the skin continued to swell up a little bit or continue to get really red and stay reactive, then that makes me a little nervous. I will stay with inorganic. And that's just my little safety protocol for my own personal self. That's an eyeliner I just did with Black Fusion. Beautiful. I do a lot of baby wings now. That's what I call a baby wing. So is there any questions on the pigments themselves before I talk about my eyeliner course? I want to see if there's any questions about iron oxides, inorganic blacks. Bum, bum, bum. Let me just show you this. So when you order your pigments, can you guys see this? They come like this. Can you see that, Willow?
Yeah.
And they're shrink wrapped, and you get a Yorker cap. So I know that's not very sexy, right? To have the Yorker cap in there. But that's how they come. No leakage. We mail these back and forth. Like how many times, Willow? A ton. And we tried different sealers. I don't want no leakage. None. I wanted to make sure I got no complaints on my pigment line. None. So when you get this, you undo the shrink wrap and you'll take off the white cap, and you don't really need it. And this is open. There'll be a red plug. And the red plug comes out pretty darn easy. You don't have to use pliers or nothing like that. A couple of the red plugs we tried, couldn't get the damn plug off. And I was bitching. And I figure if I'm going to bitch, customers are going to bitch. Other artists are going to bitch. Because I'm very particular. And I don't want to be annoying. I don't want to be frustrated. So if I'm bitching, you guys are going to bitch. So we found a red plug that was snug enough to prevent leakage, but put a glove on and you can take it right off with your hands. Easy. And then you put your Yorker cap. You put your Yorker cap on, and your Yorker cap has a little black cap. And the Yorker caps are really, I think, the best damn tips out there. They're very precise and they're awesome. And is today we're releasing the video on the OMG Pigments?
On YouTube?
On YouTube?
Yes, I can link that in the description.
So I have a video where we swab these out. I go over everything. If you want to, I go over how to shake them. Some people don't know how to shake pigments, you guys. That's on YouTube. You can watch that. But great. Though, yes, Tammy, those caps are super friendly. Everybody's gonna like them a lot because, you know, LI's worked with a lot of caps, tips over the years. I see what people are complaining about, you know, with other brands. And so, you know, I made all kinds of mental notes and I'm like, okay, pigments can't leak. The sealer's gotta come off easy. No waste. People they don't want waste. And they don't want clogged tips. I don't blame them. Those are all the stuff I don't want. So I think we got you covered. All right, all right. So my eyeliner course is launching the same time the pigments are. I thought it was a great time to, you know, finally get my own eyeliner class out. So I think the course will be really, really good for you if you're struggling with pigment retention, because that's like my jam. I get high heeled in color for clients that want that high heeled in look. Not everybody does. You know, some clients want that soft, smoky, dusty look, which is beautiful. But there are just as many clients, if not more, that want black heeled in eyeliner. And they do not want to have to come back 3-4 times to get that. I was just talking with an artist in Germany, and he said it's pretty, it's like okay in Europe and pretty normal to get high heeled in color to take 3 or 4 times. Like that's the norm, and they're all okay with that. But that's starting to turn over there, he said, and he's not okay with it because his clients are, he says his clients are yelling at him. So I've been working with him, get him on the right needles, and you know, and he's going to be on the course because he wants to be able to do high saturation work in as few sessions as possible. So if you're struggling with pigment retention, this course will help you. I know there's a lot of good eyeliner courses out there. And this one focuses on high saturation. That's it, high saturation. And if that's what you want to be able to accomplish for your clients quickly and efficiently in as few sessions as possible, this course will help you. It will, if you're struggling with design and mapping and symmetry, this course will help you. I design my eyeliners a very particular way. I draw them, map them, and so they heal perfect symmetry. Like these corners have to heal perfect, and they have to match. And shrinkage, you know, this is one of the 2 biggest complaints or questions or asks for help that we get on eyeliners is because eyeliners is starting to get very popular. It's my 2nd most requested procedure at the studio, and it has been my whole career. If I do their brows, 80% I'm going to do their eyeliner. Because once they trust you for brows, they want their eyeliner done, or at least a lash enhancement. So shrinkage, so pigment retention, that's probably number 1. My pigment's not healing in. And number 2 is shrinkage. When the client leaves, it looks thick enough and the client's happy, but when the client comes back, there's nothing. There's just a skinny little line and they have to redo all that thickness. So in this course, I'm going to teach you how to avoid shrinkage. It's going to heal the exact width that you and your client agreed on. So at the follow-up, you don't have to add width. You do not have to add width. It healed with the width and the thickness that you and your client agreed upon, that your client paid you for, because that is a pain in the ass. Having your touch-up work come back and you lost all that thickness. Now you have to redo all that thickness. I have not had to redo thickness in 13 years. I mastered this. And I was obsessed with mastering it because I'm an artist. I want to do as little touch-up work as possible because my book is so full with new clients that I didn't want my book full with touch-up after touch-up after touch-up after touch-up. So, and we don't do a lot of touch-up work in body tattooing, you know, with these blacks. And I'm like, I couldn't figure out, why do we do so many touch-ups in permanent makeup? And I figured it out. So that is going to be a big help for y'all. And your clients, you know, clients get disappointed when they don't heal with the thickness they paid for. They get disappointed when they don't heal with the color they paid for, and they have to keep coming back. So this will help you. If you're having to do way too much touch-up work, you know, or completely redo some of your eyeliner work, this course is going to help you. If you're spending way too much time on eyeliners, this course is going to help you. I do a top and bottom, this eyeliner right here, this width, top and bottom, 45 minutes. No joke. I am not exaggerating. You can ask any artist that has watched me tattoo live. You can ask any artist in my studio. You can ask anyone. And there's thousands of artists that have watched me tattoo live. 45 minutes. And I'm not rushing. You know, when you think about it, eyeliners this skinny and this long. And some people are taking, you know, 3 hours. You know, and that's okay if that's okay with you. Right? Some people don't mind that. But if you're spending that amount of time on an eyeliner and you don't want to be, then this course can help you. Because I understand there's personalities out there that don't mind the long procedure time, you know, and so that's okay for them. And then there's artists out there like me that I've always wanted to work quickly and efficiently. That's just me. You know, I used to have, you know, 5 to 7 clients in a day. I had to learn to work very quickly and efficiently, and working quickly and efficiently have my work healed really good with very little touch up. And I was just able to really work on that and get very good with that. So, you know, with my course, I'm really confident that you're going to have better healed in color in fewer sessions. So with me, it's 1 to 2 sessions. 1 to 2 sessions, I'm getting, you know, high healed in color. This one in the middle, right? Can you see my pointer?
Yes.
Oh, this one in the middle, that's 1 session. This one over here, 1 session, all healed. And then I would say 50% of my eyeliners, it's healed 1 session. And then I would say 40%, there's a touch up because there's some holes or some light spots, or they want it a little bit blacker. It's about 40%. And then I would say maybe 5%, it just healed like crap. You know, it just healed like crap. I'm not gonna lie, because, and it's the skin. You know, we just get people that just don't tattoo well. I know it's not me, you know, it's not my pigments. I just know it's them. You know, and so that might be like 3 sessions. And then sometimes we never get it quite as black as they want. And I'll have to explain to them, it's your skin, man. Because look at all these healed in, you know. So I just have learned over the years that every now and then, no matter how good you are, we're going to have clients where we just can't quite get the healed in results we want because their skin is not going to allow it. And I think there's a lot of young artists out there now that don't understand that, and they're beating themselves up, right? Because of Instagram. I call Instagram la la land. Everything's fixed and edited, and it's only fresh work. And we have young artists calling. I DM them all the time, you know, I voicemail them all the time because they're so defeated. They're preparing themselves. But, you know, even really good artists have been doing this a long time. We have shitty work every now and then. That's just the truth. You know, and I'm not afraid to admit it. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. You're going to achieve high saturation results more quickly and more efficiently for the clients who want it, because they are out there. They are out there. So many clients come in and they put on their black liquid eyeliner. I want this, you know, and then, like I said, some want smoky and soft and dusty. And when they want smoky, soft, and dusty, which I love doing, it's easier for me to do soft and dusty, right? It's not as quite as high precision work as black, precise, like this kind of style. I just dilute. I dilute my blacks, and it feels, you know, smoky and soft. You're going to learn easy design and mapping skills to ensure your symmetry and to ensure there is no shrinkage, right? you're definitely gonna minimize your touch-up work, 100%. 100%, you're gonna minimize your touch-up work. We will never, like I said, we will never completely get rid of touch-up work, but we can minimize it. We can certainly minimize it. And sometimes I'll hear artists say, oh, I love my touch-up work. I love doing touch-ups. Oh, I'll do 3-4 times. I'm like, are you? I'm like, okay. All right, well, here's to that. But I'm just not that kind of artist. I don't want to be doing 3-4 touch-ups on every client. I just don't. Love my clients, but and this will help reduce your procedure time. And I'm not saying you have to do really super quick. It took me 22 years to master eyeliner and to get tops and bottoms down to 45 minutes. That doesn't come overnight. But it's because of the needles I use. It's because of the way I move that needle on the skin. It's just my how do I say that? My methods. I want to say methodology. Methodology. All right, it's my methodology. I'm very methodical. I have a pattern that I use, and I'm very methodical. And I think that's why I've been able to get my procedure time concise, why I've been able to get high saturation results, because of my methodology. And this is my motto in my eyeliner course. This is one session. This is Felicia. And this is one session healed. And I used super black on her. So it healed really, really, really good. There's a couple, if you look close on her little outer tail, there's a couple little, I see a couple little spots that I got to go in and crisp up and fill in a little bit. But that is a damn good first healed end result. And although, yes, I do have a few little spots here and there that get a little bit weaker and I have to go back in, I am never going to complain about a healed result like that. And my client isn't either. This is what touch-ups should be, right? Where we just kind of go in and fine tune. And someone said, yeah, Cheryl, it's not good for the skin to keep doing touch-ups. It's certainly not. The longer we can go without touch-ups, the less touch-ups, the better for the skin. We want to keep tattooing the same area over and over and over and over and over. It's just not good for the skin. So let me tell you what's inside the course. And you guys don't go away. We've got all you on here. We're going to give away a free set of all the colors, all 3 blacks, and the course. That's one prize. Someone's going to win that. And we're going to give away 1 free access to the course. So we have 2 prizes. So don't go away. You have to be on here live to win. We have a Google automatic winner generator. Willow's over there at the table, and we have all your names, and we put it in this software, and you press a button, and it jumbles it, and it comes up with a winner, which is great. Okay, so in the course, you have some PDFs, right? Eyeliner pre-screen, which I think is really good to have it at your front desk or when someone's calling for eyeliner, because they need to be pre-screened. When they come in for that appointment, I want to make damn sure there is nothing going to prevent me from doing that procedure that day. So it's a really detailed pre-screen with guidelines on lots of different things. Guidelines on, filler and lashes and all that stuff. My aftercare instructions that are customized to me, I spent years adjusting and adjusting and adjusting and tweaking them to where I feel they are the best aftercare instructions to obtain the best healed end results. So you're going to get my aftercare instructions. And my aftercare instructions for eyeliner is different than my aftercare instructions for lips. And it's different than my aftercare instructions for eyebrows because it's a different area. So they are custom to the eye area. I have my mapping and drawing video in there. So it's a full video and shows you exactly how I get my measurements, there's mapping for eyebrows and there's mapping for eyeliners. And especially if they want a little corner, like Felicia here, or if they want a wing. That's a great little video. A body positioning video, because I see a lot of bad body positioning out there. And your body position and how you position yourself for eyeliner can affect your precision. And precision is of the utmost importance on all procedures. But when you're doing high black, striking eyeliner looks, I mean, it is high precision work, high precision work. So that body positioning is very important. Top and bottom stretch video. Stretch is very important on the eye area. And it's more important, it's a little bit complicated, more complicated on the eye area than the lip and the brow and areola, because the client can blink and twitch. We need to control movement and flutter and blinking and all that stuff. So I've really nailed down my stretch over the years. So got a great video on stretching. My cleanse and numb video, that sounds pretty basic, but this is not a basic video. I really go into detail about things in that video. And then I have my top and eyeliner video. It's about an hour long, a little over an hour, and I narrate throughout it. I show you exactly what, and it's not edited like at all. Like a lot of videos on online courses, they bring in a paid videographer, and it's hodgepodge, and it's done almost cinematic, which is great, and it looks beautiful. I didn't do that. Me and my team filmed it, all 4K, high quality. It's great. And it's just a full procedure. And I narrate through the whole thing, tell you what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. And I even have text throughout the video. Just a great little video. It's great. I think it's gonna be great. You're gonna love it. And lots of PDF downloads and more. That's just all the juicy stuff. So there's more in there. And the course launches on May 7th. You can pre-order the course right now. And if it's on pre-order right now, and you'll save $50, and you get a 1-year access. And the thing about, let me just tell you this, is I'm going to continue adding to it. And then I'm probably going to go up in the price a little bit. So it has my one eyeliner procedure in there, but I'm going to do another eyeliner video. I'm going to add them to the course. So you're going to get it at a super low price, especially if you pre-order now. It's got the $50 off, and then it's going to stay the regular retail price for a while. And then once I add my other model in there, then we're going to raise the price. So get in now and you'll experience the class growing right before your eyes. And I've never done a class like this, but I thought this would be a great way to do a class. And it's a pretty darn full class, you guys. It's a full class, and it's good. I'm proud of it. I don't ever release anything I'm not proud of. So is there any questions on the course or the pigments or anything at all? You can go to girlsinktraining.com and pre-order the course, and the pigments are on pre-order now. That's it. Do we want to do the giveaway, Willow?
Yes, before we do that, we did get one question a few minutes ago from Eve asking if there's a lot of redundancy between this course and the Wedge and Wing design course.
No, there's no redundancy. No, the Wedge and Wing design course, we're actually I just talked to Amber about it's time to refresh that. So, and there's no really tattooing in that course. So this course is different. It's a different model. So you get to see me design on a different model, and it is a full length. How long is that procedure video? An hour and
20 minutes, I believe.
Yeah, it's about an hour and 10 to 20 minutes. It's a full top and bottom eyeliner procedure, high saturation. So no, 100%, there is no redundancy at all. Promise you. How is working with mags and this pigment? Good. I think Carrie, don't you use mags? Carrie Wellstead's on here, and I know she uses mags on her eyeliner, and she's been using the eyeliner pigments. and a couple, I don't use mags on my eyeliners. But we've got a couple of artists that are using mags, and the feedback's been really, really good. Yeah, Carrie just said yes. Yeah, she's using mags with this pigment on her eyeliner work. Oh, someone's asking about an eyeliner course. Look, this is my last year doing hands-on eyeliner courses. I have a class in Maine. August, what are those dates? Will's gonna get them. And I'm only doing 4 students. That's it. It sold out in about 3 weeks. All 4 students. I don't like more than 4 students because I can't give good attention if it's more than 4. And just this morning, we had a student, something's come up, and and she wants to sell her ticket to the class. So it's in Maine, August. Hang on, I'm gonna get the dates for you.
1 second. August 5th and 6th.
August 5th and 6th. It's a 2-day class in
Oh, no, that
No.
one,
hang
it's
on.
actually the 28th and 29th of July.
Okay, it's July 28th and 29th in Maine. It's right outside of Portland, Maine. And it's a full hands-on class, eyeliner class. So we're doing live models and everything. And 1 seat just came open. It just came open, and I'm going to announce it on my Instagram, and we're going to send out an email blast. And I think it will sell quick. You know, we did have a waiting list, but first one gets it. Yeah, July 28th and 29th. So I'm really excited because Maine's my hometown, and I've never taught there, so we're going all out. This class includes us, you know, the OMG pigments, and includes, you know, some really good goodies. And so if you're interested in that class, you can email us at info@girlsinc.com or training@girlsinc.com. And just a couple of announcements. You know, we have our Facebook ads launching May 11th. And that is a great class, and it's based on Girls Inc. Olivia took over our Facebook ads about 3 years ago and scared me at first because we were paying an agency, you know, but I wanted to be independent. I wanted to be able to do my own ads. I didn't want to rely, I just wanted to become an independent little company of women that do our own everything and not rely on others. And we started with Facebook ads 3 years ago. And the first year was a little rough, trial and error. But the last 2 years, our Facebook ads have been wildly successful. Wildly successful. We figured out a lot of stuff. Olivia did. She's got her master's in, she went to UNLV. She's got her master's in marketing. And we decided how great it would be to teach other PMU artists to do their own Facebook ads. It will save you paying an agency, and it's not a cookie cutter or broad-based class. And Girls Inc., I don't want to do your ads for you. We don't have time. We're doing our own ads and running our own company. But we can teach you. Olivia can teach you how to do yours. And it was one of the best moves I've ever made. So that's a really good class. And then you guys, I have a live webinar on June 23rd called Mastering Your Results. And I'm going to talk about the stuff that needs to be talked about. Pigment, skin, depth, and saturation. And I'm going to get real, and I'm going to get raw, and we're going to talk. We're going to talk, because there's some things going on that need to be talked about. And I'm really excited to be talking about it. We priced it at $149, and it's going to sell out. I only like, you know, I only like so many people on my webinar. I know you can take hundreds, but I don't like hundreds on my webinars. Because then we can't answer questions, and it just feels too big, and it gives me anxiety. So we are going to cap it. And we already have, it's about 50% sold out. So put that on your books if you're interested, but I think it's going to be, it's a great class. I'm working on it right now. So I'm super stoked. So are you ready to do the winners?
I am ready.
She's
Teryn.
she's over there doing the winners.
Okay, it looks like the winner of the Pigments and Course Access is Tonya Martin.
Oh, okay. So the winner of the eyeliner black series. I don't know if you guys could hear. Oh, Tanya could hear you. I got a woohoo. So you won the pigments, Tanya, and access to the course. Well, let me ask you this, Tanya. You're in my main class, correct? Yeah, she's in my main class. So, hey, Tanya, let me ask you this. I'm not going to put you on the spot. I am going to put you on the spot. So in the main class, you're getting a set and you're getting access to the online course. You're already getting that in the main class. So let me ask you, because you're already getting that, do you want to let us pick again? I promise you're getting this in the main class. You just gotta wait till. Okay. Oh, thank you. All right, let's everybody give Tanya some hearts. She's gonna let us pick again. Oh, that is really, really super sweet. You could have ended up with 2 sets of pigments. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. You're awesome. I'll bring you a little extra goodie. All right, let's pick again, Willow. So this is for the pigment set and the course, the big one.
And the random generator gave us Giselle Voice.
Giselle Voicing. Woohoo! All right. Is she still on here? You gotta still be like, oh, she is. All right, Giselle. So you won the set of the eyeliner pigments, all 3 blacks, and access to the course. So we will get that all squared away. Do we need her? You have her information. You can get her all taken care of, Willow?
Yes, I will send her an email.
Willow will send you an email, Giselle. So you don't need to do anything. You will hear from us. That will be Willow. All right. So now we have a free course. Free course.
Okay, and it looks like Deborah Roberts is the winner.
Deborah Roberts wins the 12-month course. Are you still with us, Deborah? You got to still be live to win. So
says that she's on here.
Says that she's on here. Come on, Deborah. Where's Deborah? She's on here. All right, Deborah. So same thing, Deborah. You don't have to do a thing. Willow will email you on how to get access to the course, and access is on. Oh God, when's the access? May. Oh, I just
May 7th at 11 a.m. Anybody that pre-orders the course will be given access automatically on May 7th at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Yes, May 7th. You all will have access to the course. And on May 7th, well, after this webinar, we're not offering the $50 discount. So there you go. All right. So that was good. That was good. I hope you got lots of good information. You know, you want to use these webinars, of course, to let people know you have new pigments and this and that. Well, you don't want it to be all spammy and markety and salesy. You know, who likes that shit? Not me. So I always want to make sure that I give you good, solid, some education and information and inspiration, you know, and it was worth your time joining us. So thank you, Rami Reed. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. How do they get the $50 code?
I am sending it out again.
Willow is sending it out again. It's in the chat. Thank you, Carrie. Love you, girl. Connie Marling, thank you. Shelly, thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome, Zoe and Vanessa. Thank you, girls, so much for hanging out with us today. Rebecca, Doro, thank you. You're all so welcome. All right, you guys, I'm going to say goodbye go enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day.